Hello student, I am Mrs. Jenny Shah and I will be teaching you all history this year. Today we will only do an overview of the year. I will show you all what you all will learn through the year. We will discuss the expectations I have out of you and the expectations you should have from this course.
The first question that we always feel that we should address is, what is history? History is derived from the Greek word historia, meaning inquiry or knowledge. That is, any learning or any knowledge that we acquire by inquiry or investigation. History is the study of the past. History is the study of this past, specifically the people, societies, events, and problems of the past, as well as our attempts to understand them. It is a pursuit common to all human societies. Simply put, it is the study of past events of human affairs in a chronological order. So, history is the study of the past, specifically the people, societies, events, and problems of the past. It is also our attempts to understand them. It is a common pursuit of all human society. You'll often feel, why should you study history? In today's world, where the focus is very much on today and tomorrow, the value of history is often questioned and forgotten. So nowadays, people very easily feel we shouldn't, because everything is more about present, about today and tomorrow. So value of history is often forgotten. But history teaches us lessons about the past, present, and the future. Any history course normally focuses on timeline, themes, and issues. Most of these themes are the ways in which people, communities, and nations interact, the nature of power and leadership, the difficulties of government and economic management, the impact of war and conflict on societies, the relationship between different classes, wealth, capital, and labor. These themes, issues, and challenges remain a constant in human society. Only the people, places, and details change. And so, history provides an essential context for understanding the modern world. It is impossible to understand modern Russia and China without understanding how imperialism, war, revolution, communism, Cold War have shaped the societies. History also teaches us to research and interpret. Historians apply their knowledge and skills to locate sources and to extract information, evidence, and meaning from them. They think critically about every piece of evidence, testing and evaluating its reliability, credibility, usefulness, and significance. All this makes historians and history graduates skilled at locating, handling, and evaluating information. History also teaches us to learn, think, and problem solve. History can be extraordinarily complex. It requires a great deal of detective work, careful thought, and problem solving. As the historians locate information and evidence, they begin to build up an understanding and a picture of the people, event, or society being studied. As they delve deeper into the past, they always find unanswered questions, unclear information, or missing pieces of evidence. After finishing his or her research, the historian must now start looking for answers. So, historian becomes akin to assembling a gigantic puzzle, except there is no box or picture to serve as a guide. And of course, some pieces are missing. Now, the historians must weigh up their evidence, think logically and laterally, and then develop credible and justifiable arguments or theories. History also teaches us to communicate. Historians must be effective communicators. They have to develop and refine techniques to share their findings and conclusions. Historians communicate in many different ways. Many prominent historians publish the finding of their books, of their research as books. Academic historians often write articles for scholarly journals, and historians can also articulate their findings in newspapers or magazine articles, interviews, lectures, symposiums, and conferences, or on the internet. These skills are used and valued in all the academic disciplines, as it requires you to develop a range of communication skills. History also prepares one for many other professions. We often feel that history has lack of value in the career market. While a commerce students will go on to work in business and science students have a range of career options, a history qualification seems to offer few direct paths to employment. Well, this isn't a fair representation of how useful and how highly regarded history qualifications are. The skills and knowledge acquired from studying history are valued by many professions. As effective writers and communicators, many history graduates become successful journalists, copywriters, authors, editors, content managers, and marketing professionals. Being able to locate, organize, and manage information has enabled many history graduates to become outstanding researchers, librarians, information managers, and administrators. Politics is another career path for history graduates, some of whom have risen to high office. History is also a useful platform for a career in military or police forces, also for further studies in economics, business management, record management, social work, or psychology. And most of all, the most important reason to study history is that history creates good citizens. Unlike those who are in the fields of mathematics or physical sciences, history students spend most of their time studying people and society. They learn what it means to be human. They learn the value of things like ethics, empathy, diversity, and social justice. They learn the risks and dangers of certain ideas. They learn about timeless issues and problems that affect human society, both past and present. This equips history graduates to understand and work with the people in their own world. Studying history also creates thoughtful and active citizens who are willing to participate in the political process or in their own communities. They have a willingness and capacity to question their world and perhaps find a way to make it better. What is the importance of history? History provides us with a sense of identity. By understanding where we have come from, we can better understand who we are. History provides a sense of context for our lives and existence. It helps us understand the way things are and how we might approach the future. History teaches us what it means to be human, highlighting the great achievements and disastrous errors of human race. History also teaches us through example, offering hints about how we can better organize and manage our societies for the benefit of all. People often think history and the past are the same thing. That is not the case. The past refers to an earlier time, the people, societies who inhabited it, and the events that took place then. History describes our attempt to research, study, and explain the past. This is a subtle difference, but an important one. What happened in the past is fixed in the time and cannot be changed. In contrast, history changes regularly. The past is concrete and unchangeable, but history is an ongoing conversation about the past and its meaning. The word history and the English word story both originate from the Latin word historia, meaning a narrative or an account of past events. History is itself a collection of thousands of stories about the past, told by many different people. History can be classified on the basis of development of writing in three parts: prehistory, protohistory, and history. Prehistory is the time where there are no written records of history. Protohistory is the time where there are written records, although those records haven't been understood or read or deciphered by man. And history belongs to the time where there are written records which have been understood by men. We can read them, understand them, and derive meaning out of them. There are three parts of history: ancient, medieval, and modern. Different historians in different parts of the world give different time zones to them. But we will look at the time zone that Indian historians follow. According to Indian historians, ancient time or ancient history is from prehistory to 700 AD. Medieval time is 700 AD to 1857 AD. And modern time is 1857 AD until present. History has a lot to do with dates, and the dates are normally signified by the terms BC, AD, BCE, CE, and BP. You will often find the term BP in your textbook. While BC and AD is something you all must have heard and used, BCE and CE are the ones that have been made because BC and AD refer to Christianity. And since Christianity is not the only religion in the world, BCE and CE were introduced. So BC and BCE mean the same thing, like AD and CE. They are interchangeable terms. BC means before the birth of Jesus Christ. AD is Anno Domini. BCE means before Common Era. And CE means Common Era. BP means before present. When you say BP, before present, that belongs to all the time before 1950 AD. So when, let's say, Jesus Christ was born here, everything before this is BC, before Christ, or BCE, before Common Era. And after the birth of Jesus Christ, Anno Domini, which literally means in the era of the Lord, is also referred to as the Common Era or CE. And everything before AD as well as BC, everything before 1950 AD is before present. This brings us to all the important terms that you should know before we begin our first chapter. Archaeologist. Archaeologist is a scientist who study people and culture. They also study artifacts to know how people lived in the past. Archaeological sites. Now, these are all the places where the evidences of the past are preserved. Excavate. Excavate means to dig into the ground, to know or to look for old objects. Anatomy. Anatomy means studies of bodies of people or animals. Artifacts. These are objects made by man. All the objects made by human beings are called artifacts. Human evolution. The lengthy process of change which show how humans originated from ape-like ancestors is called human evolution. These are the themes of world history that we will be studying this year. We will begin with early societies and then move on to early empires. We will then see the changing traditions and how we have moved towards modernization. You will also have a project to do at the end of the term. We will talk more about the project when we meet. I hope you all have understood the importance of this subject, how this subject will help you, and what all you will study this year.